Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today in this session, we are going to cover the concept of Dwadash Aditya, which are the 12 Adityas and Sun in all 12 houses and also different signs. What it means for us, what it means for you, what could be potential remedies in form of mantras as well. Sun in the first house or Aries, which is Dhata Aditya. The Mool mantra here is Om Rini Dhata Aditya. That is the primary mantra. So this is where Sun becomes the controller of the Lagna or the ascendant, which is our self. It is controlling Lagna, it is controlling ascendant, it is in a great dignity here. This indicates purity and long life. What is expected from this individual is to be pure. Now, what we will actually be depends on several other factors as well. But what is really expected is to have purity. Since it gives a good vitality, a good immunity, it is indicative of giving a long life. Unless there are certain other, of course, detrimental factors and other impact that could probably, have, of course, there or Sun is under affliction. But mostly, this is what is indicated. Someone who is full of promise, full of confidence and pride, which also gives fat ego to this person. All right. So, ego is something which, of course, we have to always be very mindful of here. This can also give a tendency to be selfish or self absorbed. So, what when we are self absorbed or selfish? It gives conflict with other people, right? We tend to have conflict with other people. We are physically strong, self reliant, and we like to start early. It gives an early start or an inclination to have early start through the day. Now, one thing which an individual needs to be mindful here is not to become overbearing or self righteous. Because even if we become self righteous, so it gives very strong ideology. If we become self righteous, we stop probably respecting other people's opinion. And this is where it leads to conflict as well. But this definitely gives intelligence. So, intelligence is seen from the Lagna. A lot of things, people say, okay, knowledge, education. Some people say that, okay, fourth house, fifth house, ninth house. The first pillar of knowledge is the Lagna, the ascendant, because this is where intelligence, your buddhi, sits here in the ascendant itself. So if that is not working in the way it should, how would we get knowledge in education? Gayatri mantra or Savitur Gayatri is quite ideal. And of course, this is something which should be, of course, paid well respect towards and of course should be used. But such individuals are more active, energetic during the day than night because this is where it is sunrise. See, by the placement of sun in the chart, if you look at the chart, you can have an indication in terms of the time of birth, or when you come across somebody's time of birth, you can make an assessment. And by the end of this, you will be able to make an assessment. If you probably say that, okay, someone was born at 12:30 p.m. or 1 p.m., most likely the sun is going to be in the 10th house because this is where sun is at its prime, the most powerful, right? A little later, ninth house. Okay, so this is how it works. So early in the morning during sunrise, it's the first house. Soon after that, it is the 12th house. Then the 11th house. Then around midday, 12:30 p.m., around that time. And of course, this changes by year, by the northern movement of the sun, southern movement of the sun. It always changes. And of course, we have to always look at that aspect as well when we talk about, what this placement is. The key mantras are Om Rini Dhata Aditya, Om Bhanave Nama. And if Saturn is in Lagna for anyone or in the ascendant, which is Maran Karaka position of Shani, this is where we use the mantra Om Savitri Surya Narayanaya Nama to remove Saturn from its Maran Karaka position. Because why? Because Sun is the Karaka of Lagna. Surya is the significator of Lagna. So I'm giving you a little tip as well. Because other planets are Maran Karaka in a lot of other houses. So where the remedy could come from, it is mostly from the significator. This is Sun in first house or Dhata Aditya. Sun in second house, Taurus, Aryaman. So Aryaman would mean the protector, the one who has a family. The focus is lot on the family because second house is the house of family. The sign of Taurus is representative of family. There is a lot of freshness, and that highlights inner potential. Such people have great inner potential from early age, from very, again, early start. So, more or less, because this is where second and eighth house is connected. So, whenever Sun is in the second house, there is great potential because the 2-8 axis is connected. So, it gives great mathematical, rational thinking. And of course, such people love reading from the early age. Again, I would probably use the concept of prodigy. So, prodigy are ones who probably very sharp from their childhood in mathematics, in reading, in learning. This is what it more or less indicates. Of course, there are many other things which are there. It depends on the lordship of sun. It depends on, of course, the placement. So, based on that, some of the results do, of course, get balanced out. And of course, there's a wide variety of things. But it gives ego in speech. Sun is ego, second house is the speech. And this is something which one has to be quite mindful of. They love spicy or pungent food. Sun is related to all kinds of spices, particularly pickle. All right. And this is also a good remedy as well. If probably sun is weak, and of course, if sun is weak in the chart, people would not bear spices. They would probably hate to eat spicy food. And those who have a probably prominent connection of sun in the second house, eighth house, ascendant itself, they could probably love spicy food or pungent food. They must seek blessings from Pitris or the ancestors. Because, see, here we are talking about family. Family is not only you, but of course your ancestors as well, your Pitris as well. And this is where I'd like to probably share with you a little about Pitra dosha in the chart as well. Cause of Pitra dosha is if Saturn makes a connection with either Rahu or Ketu in any manner, that leads to Pitra dosha. Nowadays, there are a number of other conditions which people have also, other versions that have been created of Pitta dosha. But this is the primary reason why Pitta dosha is there. If it is due to Rahu, all right, things that were known, of course, so Pitta dosha means that maybe in the past life, you were not able to do the last rites of your ancestors. Okay, right? Or your ancestors left the world in some unknown circumstances, or you were not able to do the last rites. Okay. If Saturn is connected to Ketu, then the reason is knowingly you did not do it. If Saturn is connected to Rahu, then the reason is unknowingly you did not do it because maybe you were not there, or you were not aware, you were away, or these are some of the reasons. And these people are most energetic during the night because Sun in the second house is late in the night, just before the morning hours. They could be energetic, early in the morning as well, sometimes, right? Brahma Muhurat, before sunrise. Such people like to rise early as well, maybe sometimes before the sunrise. Mantras are Om Grini Surya Adityay Namah. Om Grini Aryaman Aditya. And if sun makes a connection with the second house, then Shraddha ritual during Pitru Paksh becomes very important for such individuals, the fortnightly event. Let's move forward and talk about Sun in the third house, Gemini, Mitra Aditya. See, Mitra means friendly, the one who is friendly, the go to person, who is the advisor of all, someone who you could go to for anything and everything, who could be your ears, your eyes, and of course, this does lead to a karma towards some sort of mental suffering, some sort of high emotions, because a lot of times other people will come to them, they will discuss their problems, their concerns, and we listen to all kinds of energies, mostly negative, right? Because we only take advice when something is going wrong. We take advice, in the least occasions when things are right. I'm a psychologist, so of course I understand those dynamics as well. So this does bring in a lot of negativity from other people, a lot of negative tendencies, and it leads to some sort of mental suffering, and we become highly emotional. They're bold, free of expressions. Third house makes a person bold because this is the house of valor, courage, and it makes us independent and headstrong. This is also the primary upachaya bhav, upachaya house of growth. So it makes us headstrong. We travel to distant or foreign lands. That is also from a karmic standpoint because third house indicates journeys, ninth house indicates foreign lands and long distance journey as well. 12th house also indicates foreign lands because first house is yourself and move or go distant places are seen. So multiple houses indicate foreign or distant lands in our chart, whether it's long distance or short distance. That depends on several other factors, but there is certainly a karma of traveling to distant lands. And he's like Vishwamitra, the friend of the world. Okay, but as a king, right? Because this placement makes someone very king like nature. So you are naturally superior because other people will come to you to take advice, to consult. You will behave like a king, but you will be friendly to people. You will not punish them, you will forgive them. It gives high status if the mind becomes pure. If the mind is impure, then of course it could lead to a fall. Because third house is the first trine of the Kama Trikon or the desire trine, 3, 7, and 11. And it gives very high desires. So if there is impurity, then it's very difficult to have a high status. Mind becomes pure, yes, status is going to be there. They're very extroverted because we see communication from this house, and the significator of resources, initiation, firepower is in the third house. It gives good communication skills, it makes us extroverted, but it needs organizational skills because everything is all over the place. So we like to be a bit disorganized, wherein people like to probably do things at the last minute. And it gives more vitality during the night time. Okay, especially late in the night. They would be very energetic. Especially children with this kind of placement would like to probably study till the late hours of the night. It works very well for them. The mantras are Om Grini Mitra Aditya and Om Mitraye Namah. This is Sun in third house or Gemini. Sun in the fourth house or Cancer. Varuna Aditya. So here, Sun has the power to punish. See, Varuna controls all the water element or the Jala Tattva. And why I say that here Sun has the power to punish, Sun gains direction strength in the 10th house. Fourth house, Sun has zero direction. All right. But this is also the house of public. So it does give a strong disposition here. Such people are very secretive and they love their private life. See, when Sun is in the fourth house, it is late in the night. The rays of Sun are not visible at all during this time, right? So, therefore, it is a sensitive position. I always say that it is most sensitive position here. Or the native's mother could be hot-headed. This is also something which is seen here. Such people like to get nurtured. They will either like to get nurtured or they would like to nurture others, give nurture, affection, get affection as well. Because at some point in time, maybe during their childhood, they did not get much affection that they deserved, or probably nurturing that they could. Sometimes they are self nurtured as well, particularly if Sun is placed in an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, okay, Capricorn, which indicates someone who is self nurtured. And that is utmost important to them. It gives very strong interest in spiritual practice in occult. Because 4, 8, 12 is the moksha trine or the trine of spirituality, spiritual knowledge. Primary knowledge is seen from the fourth house. It gives great interest in occult, in spirituality. And they often prefer activity based profession because they would not like to probably settle at one place. So it will be more or less unsettling for them. And anything that involves activity, that involves movement, they like that. See, because fourth house is also a movable sign. Naturally, the sign of Cancer is a movable sign. So they like to move. And natives are more active during nighttime. The key mantras, very important mantras here are Om Grini, Varuna Aditya, and Om Varunaya Namah. And this is also the time of the year when many of the parts, see, because sun's transit and of course its placement and how it works plays a very important role in worldly matters as well. So when sun moves in Cancer, that is the indication that we are about to enter most of the places in the world, and particularly in India, we're about to enter the monsoon season. Now we have a lot of course, disturbances, and of course, due to the environmental impact, things are moving here and there. But that is the start, because this is what controls the water element, and sun's movement is very important in terms of change of weather. It's northern movement, it's southern movement, and of course, through the year is indicative of it. Let's move to Sun in the fifth house or Leo. That is Indra Aditya. See, Indra is the protector of the Devatas and he's also the giver of rains. Why is giver of rains? Cancer, that is 12th from the fifth house. So what you give. So therefore, it becomes the giver of rains and he's the protector of Devata. So here, a person becomes a protector. Firstly, most importantly, they have huge interest in naturopathy and certain things that work best in the natural way. So I, of course, often give suggestions to people that you should probably go for Ayurveda or any of these natural ways of healing and helping, and of course, how you could work the most through this time. So it gives huge inclination towards Ayurveda. It gives pride, uniqueness, and mental outlook, and also creativity, because fifth house is creativity, sun is ego, sun is the initiation. It's a very strong position for Sun. Because firstly, fifth house is comfortable and it's in Leo, which is the home or the Mool Trikon sign of Sun. This could also cause some difficulty with children. See, because Sun is a Krura Graha. They call Sun malefic Graha. Many people say Sun is malefic. Okay, Sun technically is not malefic, but that's a more, commonly used term, which probably, again, people relate to, but it's a Krura Graha. It has ego. It has anger. It has the power to punish. Okay. So it gives some difficulty with children. People are opinionated and could become highly irritable and hot tempered as well. So we have very strong opinions when Sun is in the fifth house. See, I always say that Leo, those who have prominent energies, Leo ascendant, Leo moon, Leo sun, prominent planets in Leo, they're like the head of the table. And when Sun is in Leo, see, firstly, whichever house Sun aspects, and Sun aspects the seventh house from its position, it blinds that house. Therefore, I always say that never sit, across the table with those who have prominent Leo energies because they're going to blind you. Always sit on the side. There can be only one head of the table, and that is when Sun is in Leo, right? To probably explain it in the most simple manner. They're the experts in mantra, tantra, spiritual techniques. Mantra, because fifth house is the house of mantras, tantras, yantras, spiritual techniques. But we have to be careful because this could cause issues as well. So if someone has that practice, they have to be very disciplined. They have to use protection mantras as well. Career sometimes may involve sports, entertainment, drama, and natives are more creative during the daytime. This is something which is seen predominantly by the virtue of energies of sun, because sun is a day strong planet. Otherwise, this is of course, a sign that is rising in eastern horizon. When sun is in Leo, it is way after sunset, a few hours after that. But natives are still more creative during the daytime because sun is a day strong planet and it is its office space. So that's the only exception which it has. The mantra is Om Grini Indra Aditya and Om Vivasvate Namah. Let's move to sun in Virgo, Vivaswan Aditya, sixth house. Sun in sixth house. See, there's an overload of fire element. Vivaswan is related to Agni Tattva or the fire element. This is an overload of fire element. Though Virgo as a sign is earth element. But because of the Aditya, it is Agni Tattva. There is a lot of fire which is burning here. Therefore, such people will always try to lift others spiritually. They have a huge power to pull people towards them, overcome any sort of competition, any sort of enemies. This placement burns all kinds of weaknesses of the mind, which we call shad ripus. There are six enemies of the mind, which we call shad ripus. Sun has the power to burn all that. See, again, naturally, sun would also burn the significance of the house that it is placed in, depending on several factors that does play a role. This is where sun burns shad ripus. Mahatma Gandhi was a Virgo sun. And of course, we all know what he did. And of course, one of the reasons for that is that he was able to probably conquer and overcome all his weaknesses of mind. It gives very strong reputation and authority. People take great pride in their work. So if they say something, they will probably speak about it in volumes with great pride, with great rigor, with great authority. And it has a good chance of giving strong reputation. So Sun in the sixth house is not a bad placement at all. It is a very good placement. But they could be prone to diseases that are related to sun, heart, anemia, loss of vitality, body temperature, fever. So when our temperature shoots up of the body, we call it the situation of fever. So of course, we are prone to certain diseases, and one has to be careful in terms of their lifestyle. They're very strategic in terms of solving problems, but they can become argumentative because they have very strong opinions and could lead to argument with other people. They're very competitive. They always need to probably be ahead of everyone. This gives very good capacity to work hard because they have a fearless nature. So it helps you remove your fear, remove your darkness, and be a lot more energetic during the daytime, particularly late in the afternoon. Few hours before sunset is the ideal time for such people to feel a lot more energetic. Now, when I'm also sharing with you these tips in terms of daytime, right? So certain mantras also work certain times of the day. So you can also probably get some hint, here. And the mantras are Om Rini Indra Aditya and Om Varunaya Namah. Sun in Virgo or Vivaswan Aditya in the sixth house. Let's move to Sun in the seventh house or Libra. That is Pusha Aditya. Sun in the seventh house, Libra, Pusha Aditya. He is the giver of Pashu wealth from the ancient knowledge, olden days. Pashu means animal. In the olden days, historically, how would people know who is wealthy? Let's say someone who has a couple of goats. Okay, then there's someone who has cows, buffaloes. Then king who would have 50 elephants, 100 elephants, horses, right? So the basis of the animals they own, there was a time when it was determined who is wealthy. So this is the concept of that. If we relate it to the modern concept, this particular placement can give bigger vehicles, can give multiple vehicles. Because in the olden days, that was one of the vehicles. And from a wealth point of view as well, it gives good wealth. It is the giver of business because seventh house is the house of business. But one has to be aware of the money net. It is like a Maya Jal. It is somewhere where one will get stuck because seventh house is the karma trine, high desires again. They have the capacity to lead many people since they have a capacity to start businesses, run businesses, lead people. They get power through others. Though, of course, school of thought say that it is a weak position of sun because sun likes to rise in the east, in west, sun is setting, but that is weak more in terms of relationship. But in terms of business, it's a very strong position. It gives a commanding authority to an individual. They're always opposed to the idea of pleasing others because they have an entrepreneurial spirit. They would not like to please others. They will have dominance in relationship, confident to deal with the world, and gives a very strong public reputation. If Sun is positive in good houses, friendly signs, if the seventh lord is connected, if there are positive yogas, it could give very strong reputation. And natives feel strongest and most energetic at sunset times. The Sun in the seventh house, and particularly for Aquarius ascendants, and also somewhat for Cancer ascendants. For Cancer and Aquarius, the seventh house is ruled by Saturn sign, either uh, it is Capricorn or Aquarius. So for Cancer and Leo ascendants, the seventh house is ruled by the sign of Shani. So for Cancer, Leo ascendants, and of course Aquarius ascendants as well, who have Leo as the seventh sign, they have natural karma or difficulties towards relationship marriage. There's this interesting story here, right? So Sun had a wife whose name was Chaya, and Sun was known to not spend a lot of time with his wife. So Chaya was created, as a shadow form, right? And Sun would always stay away. So there's a story which probably you should read, which talks about the difficulties and at a natural level why it is difficult, for Sun to be in the seventh house when it comes to relationships. So it gives dominance, it gives ego issues. So this is the only difficult position which is there. Otherwise, it's mostly positive as well. And the mantras here are Om Grini Pusha Aditya. And if you do it at sunset, it is best for relationship related issues. If you do it at midday, it is good for work. Om Pushane Nama for wealth, business, as well as finance. If Sun is in seventh house or Sun is in Libra. Now, when you should do compared to the both, I'll probably address that a little later. Eighth house or the sign of Scorpio, Parjanya Aditya. He's the giver of spiritual knowledge, higher spiritual knowledge, and early success could make someone a prodigy. Prodigy is a child who would probably be very sharp in science, in mathematics, in concepts, in research, in history, and of course, some of these things, right? So it gives very strong spiritual knowledge. Sun never has a dosha in the eighth house. We purify by transformation. So one needs purification. Sometimes it is a painful process as well. And here you're again burning weaknesses. So remember what I shared with you. Sun, in whatever house it is placed, it is going to burn the significations, the most negative significations mostly. And we see Nija dosha, which is primarily your weakness. This is your, sensitive spot. This is the house of depth, which has deep, dark desires. So here, Sun is also burning weaknesses. They're inherently secretive and they're very mysterious. In terms of becoming self-disclosing, it will take a lot of time because they like to be secretive. On a positive side, they enjoy research. They're attracted to psyche, mysteries, occult, all aspects of nature. And here one has to be very careful because if someone is learning all of these things, they could probably move or step into a very wrong direction as well, darker direction too, which is not so good, right? There is a dark side to everything. So one has to be very careful here. This placement gives a legacy, fame, and even a bigger fame once they exit or leave the world. Because eighth house is the house of life and death. It is the house of longevity. So it gives lasting fame, and more so once you leave the world. It gives many sudden transformations. So that's a way of life. Something is working right, suddenly something happens. And I have a couple of example charts as well for you, which will get more clear later in the session. Natives are most energetic during the early hours of night, right? The dusk time. The mantra here is Om Grini Parjanya Aditya Om Vridya Aditya Nama. This is an important mantra for growth. If we want growth, if we want to overcome our weaknesses, if we want to attract fame, this is a very good mantra to use. And of course, from an energy point of view, I've already shared with you. Let's move to Sun in the ninth house, Sagittarius. That is called Anshuman Aditya. Anshuman is the remover of darkness, or he is the suppressor of darkness, the one who protects the world. He is again Vayu element, Vayu Tattva, and Vayu is very important for our sustenance, for our existence. So Anshuman is the one who is the protector. So therefore, see, naturally, Sun's best placement. Though of course, I often, stay away from stating words or terms such as best placements, but ideally, first house, fifth house, ninth house, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius are very ideal because Sun is fiery planet. These are fiery signs. This is the Agni Trikon. This is the Dharma Trikon. So therefore, it's a very good placement for Sun. Such people are born with a special motive, a special purpose, which is to protect the world. To, of course, protect their own Dharma. Because this is where Sun is shining like a guiding, benevolent force. This is the late afternoon hours. Sun is still very powerful, right there during midday. This placement makes someone be very philosophical, independent, proud, and gives superior views. So many different things here. So either you will have interest in philosophy, spirituality, it will make someone independent, it could give journey. Destination is in foreign lands because it gives long distance journey, long distance travel. And our views are very superior because we have the tendency to gain knowledge that some other people cannot have. Sometimes it gives us pride because it gives us ego because we feel very knowledgeable. And for us, we might think that other people are inferior, know it all attitude. And that is something which someone has to stay away from. It often tends to bestow religious inclinations. Such people can also have many different religious inclinations or a shift as well. But once they are committed to their religion, then there is no looking back because Sun demands consistency. All right. And one's destiny either is connected to foreign lands or foreigners, those who belong from to other cultures. They're very much interested in following laws, creating good karmas for themselves. They expect people to create good karmas. Therefore, it can cause problems because of others' opinions, because they're very strongly opinionated. They believe in doing good karmas. They believe in following the law and order situation. So, other people's opinion, they're always very cynical. They're always very full of criticism. And this is something which one needs to avoid. Most energy that they have is during the afternoon, and that is the peak time when we should make the most of these energies. The mantras are Om Grini Anshuman Aditya Om Anshumate Namah. This is again one of the very good position for Sun. Sun is the secondary Karaka, secondary significator of the ninth house that I have already shared with you. And of course, from a Dharma point of view, people have special purpose which they must discover in their life. Sun in the 10th house, Capricorn, Bhaga Aditya. See, Bhaga as the word has been derived from Bhagya. That means fortune. It naturally gives someone the ability to work hard. They love, they love duty and also dharma. The 10th house Capricorn is about duty. It is about staying and being on the ground. Bhaga gives an unbending nature and great strength. Since they have great strength, they will be unbending. Sometimes this could make a person rigid as well. That, okay, I am not willing to change because this is my way. It's my way or the highway. But if they are able to work on this aspect and, of course, be unbending, be strong, but be adaptive as well at the same time. Try to create that sense of balance. They're very determined. They have a commanding aura. See, this point is the zenith point of the sun, when sun is most powerful. The most auspicious muhurat, which we call Abhijit Muhurat, is around the time when sun is in the 10th house, which is midday. Most often around 12, 12:30, 1 p.m. It will change, at certain times of the year. It will always change. So this is the zenith period of the sun. You cannot never make a direct eye contact with the sun, especially during this time. You will probably get blinded. So this gives pride, ambition, and it also receives respect from all. But there is a lot of pride that people have. They could work with influential people or the government. See, 10th house, there is a lot of misconception here. 10th house will always indicate your environment, where you work. Your profession will never be seen from the 10th house, even the 10th lord. in the D1 chart. Profession is always seen from the Dashamsha, D10 chart. Where you work, your environment, the kind of people that you work with is seen from the 10th house of the D1 chart or the Rashi chart. It gives a heightened sense of responsibility. Such people naturally feel that they have a lot of responsibility. They have a lot of baggage on their shoulder. All right. And this causes a continuous amount of stress that they have to live in. So, of course, certain spiritual discipline, meditation, yoga, sadhana is most important. Having a good morning routine. And if someone has sun in the 10th house, ninth house, 11th house, this is what a day strong sun is. And with not an early riser, you're spoiling your sun. This is an ideal remedy, a very simple remedy to strengthen sun if you respect the time. Now, one's reputation can be harmed, could be damaged, so one has to be careful as well because there are two sides of the coin. If there's affliction, you are prone to reputational damage because you will be very conscious about your reputation. They can never keep secrets. They're very simple. They like to share everything and anything with this world. They're very giving nature, right? And natives have most energy during midday. So midday is the peak. This is where all the good tasks need to be done. The mantras Om Grini, Bhaga Aditya, and Om Vimala Adityaya Namah. Om Vimala Adityaya Namah. Let's now move to Sun in the 11th house, Aquarius, which is Twashta Aditya. Now he is like Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma, the celestial architect. So you're an architect. One would possess good skills, great skills, when Sun is in the 11th house or in the sign of Aquarius, right? And this is what is expected as well. So, of course, if it is a giver of good skills, it demands you to, of course, make you a karma yogi. So, such people do sacrifice themselves. Again, read about Vishwakarma and the stories, and of course, related to sacrifice as well. So, you become a karma yogi here. This is also second from the 10th house. See, again, there are a lot of connections. 10th house is your karma. Fulfillment of karma is second from the 10th house. Just as fulfillment of yourself, what are you consuming, is seen from the second house, which is second from the first house. So it demands self sacrifice for you to become karma yogi. Work is above you. So, such people, because they're always consuming work, they're always, of course, on the ground, and Sun gains good strength and always keep their work above themselves and above anyone else. With age, with maturity, it grows in pride, confidence, authority, vitality, and ambition. So, all of these things will only come with age, late success. Okay, the little hint that I'd like to give you here is some people get early success, some people get late success. Of course, if certain things are there, of course, Sun in 11th can give early success as well if there are other conditions, but yes, mostly late success. They're very much interested in humanitarian work. 11th house is the 12th from the 12th house. Here, luxury is not very important because see, Sun is the giver of vitality, immunity, life. He does not believe in worldly desire. He believes in unconditional giving. Here, luxury is not very important for such people. There's a strong influence of elder sibling or siblings on the native. They take more than he or she can chew. So you would probably constantly be taking up more work, very difficult to say no. And of course, later it could cause problem in terms of stress, in terms of burnout. Natives experience most energy in early afternoon. And the mantras are Om Grini, Twashta Aditya, and Om Twastai Namah. This is what Sun in the 11th house in the sign of Aquarius. Sun in Pisces or the 12th house. Sun in the 12th house or Pisces is called Vishnu Aditya. This is different from Lord Vishnu. This is the name of one of the forms of Sun that is mapped to the sign of Pisces or the 12th house. Now, he is the flag bearer and showing the torch for moksha. 12th house is the house of moksha, liberation, spirituality. So, naturally, one becomes the flag bearer of moksha. Life sometimes move as unnoticed, unassuming. A lot of times, we feel that we're not being noticed, and the spending becomes of very scattered nature for such people. Now, this is where we have to also be, mindful of the fact that Sun attains Maran Karaka position or a death-like position in the 12th house. But that's again, a totally different concept. It will depend on a number of other factors, right? If Sun is positive in the 12th house, it creates father's legacy. Okay, such people live with father's legacy. Their father would go out of the way to help or support. If it is negative, if it is afflicted, it will create distance. You will be distant with your father. The native takes no rest. It affects their energy level. Naturally, the energy levels are lower, and we take no rest, it will further affect the energy level. We will spend great deal in exploring matters of the 12th house, and this is where one has to be careful. If it is spirituality, if it is liberation, if it is donations, very good. But there are some other aspects of 12th house as well: sleep, bed comforts, pleasures, expenditure, unnecessary expenditure as well. So, of course, we like to explore all those matters, and this is where one has to be careful. Intoxication is also seen from the 12th house. Overindulgence is also seen from this house. Sometimes it gives shyness or reclusive tendencies. Such people could be introverted in nature, but being introverted, it gives us very deep thinking and reflective capabilities. The mind works best when we are in isolation, and we can create wonders when we are in isolation. Because remember that everything in this world was created from nothing. So if you sit, do nothing, you have the potential to create everything because your mind will work very well. You can create everything in this world. They could go far away from their place of birth. There's a good chance here, of course, depending on some other factors. They're always seeking enlightenment. They feel out of the place. What the people are talking about, all the material things, worldly desires and all. I feel out of place. I'm not a part of this discussion. I have a very high intellect. Something that I would share with others, they will probably joke or they will not understand. That's the level of intelligence which I have. So, of course, they're always seeking enlightenment. And such natives feel very strong just during the sunrise. A few hours after sunrise is the peak time for such people. The mantras Om Grini, Vishnu Aditya, and Om Vishnave Nama. We can also use a Dvadashakshari mantra as well. That is Om Nama Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let's move to the next section and probably share with you how to study this in the chart. We've spoken a lot about concepts. So firstly, check the placement of the sun. So count the number of houses from the ascendant. That becomes the placement. Okay, and of course that becomes the house where sun is placed. Very simple terms. The sign occupied by the sun is the nature of Aditya, spark of light. So nature of Aditya is seen from the sign. The big difference between the sign occupied. See, the sign occupied is what you want to give to the world. And the house occupied by the sun is what the world expects from you. I'm going to take a few examples and perhaps share that as well, which will, of course, bring in a lot of clarity in terms of what you want to give to the world and what the sun expects from you. So, for example, if someone is a Gemini ascendant and Sun is in the ninth house of Aquarius, so firstly, the sign occupied by the Sun is what you want to give to the world. Since it's a giver of skills, so you would want to give the world knowledge, learning, skills, education. The world expects from you dharma. The world expects from you strong opinions, ideology. So somehow it is on you how you create a sense of balance. Let's say Sun is in Aries in the first house. That is a very well balanced position because this is where the sign occupied by the Sun is what you want to give to the world, which is Dhata, the creator, and the world expects from you that as well. So, of course, it is seen from, and the mantra that you will use. okay, will always be dependent on what are you trying to solve for. Let's say you have Sun in the 12th house and it is in the sign of Libra. So whether you will use the mantra that is related to Libra, the sign which is Pusha Aditya, or whether you will use the mantra related to Vishnu Aditya. That will depend on what your priority is. Are you focusing on what you want to give to the world, or are you focusing on what the world expects from you? See, what the world expects from you is also seen from a special ascendant, which is called the Aruda Lagna. So it is very closely linked to the Aruda Lagna as well, which is the word what world expects from you. There is a calculation which we use. It is seen by the placement of your Lagna Lord. And of course, one particular house becomes the special ascendant. So count in very simple terms, count the number of houses your ascendant lord is placed from your ascendant, and then further count the number of houses from your ascendant lord. That particular house becomes your Arudha Lagna. So, for example, if your Lagna lord is placed in the eighth house, count eight houses from this placement, which becomes the third house. Therefore, that becomes your Arudha Lagna. So, the mantra, the remedy that you will use, whether it should be related to sign or the house and how you will read it, is dependent on these two factors, which are most important. What you want to give to the world and what the world expects from you. Always remember that.